Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Hibiscus or Admin Hibiscus or Yuzuka Hibiscus or whatever you want to call me with. You're currently listening to my podcast, which is Hibiscus Cafe Break. This podcast will feature international fans and I will be letting them plug in their favorite show, and I will also watch that show beforehand and we will be discussing it for each episode. However, welcome back to season 2 of Hibiscus Cafe Break. A lot of things have happened in Takarazuka in 2023 and 2024, and I just have the utmost wish to hope that everyone is doing well and taking care of themselves and enjoying Takarazuka in their own pace. This podcast has the intention of wanting to share more about my Takarazuka love, so I hope that listening to these episodes would give you comfort and also consolation in any type of way. So I have Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. Since Yuzuka Rei has graduated from Takarazuka Review, now I mostly update her news and also archives. So on Twitter, I go by Updates of Rei, UPDATESOFREI. And for Instagram, I go by Archive for Rei, which is ARCHIVEFORREI. Where on Tumblr, I'm still Yuzuka Hibiscus. I also opened a Discord server for any new or current Yuzuka Rei fans so that we can join and mingle together and talk more about her. So if you're interested, just go to the description box to find the Discord invite link. Also subscribe to my channel and like my video if you like this episode. Please note that the name Hibiscus Cafe Break is with due respect to the original show Takarazuka Cafe Break, and this is a fan-made podcast with no intention of receiving commercial revenue, rather to promote Takarazuka Review in a casual and informal manner. I do not own any of the resources that may be featured, and any mentions of the shows or xians are subject to copyright from Hankyu Railway, Takarazuka Review, and Takarazuka Creative Arts Publications. This is a disclaimer, but these 2 episodes with Bia are recorded back in July 2023, so what we say may be, quote-unquote, out of the times, but I still hope that you enjoy our commentary on the Flower Troop National Tour show, Love Burns in Firenze. And without further ado, let the podcast episode begin. Today, we'll be having our 5th guest on board to talk with me today. So before we start, let us ask them to introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bea, and I'm very excited to be on this podcast. Thank you for having me here.
Can you also tell the audience perhaps like where are you from?
Oh, I live in Europe,
Okay,
in
sure.
the eastern side. It's very hot right now.
Okay, so maybe let's have some general warm-up first. Could you share a TMI of today?
A TMI is that I was so nervous about today's recording that I woke up very early, even though it's my day off today. And I listened to music the whole day, basically, just warming up for this discussion.
I see. Well, I assure you, the first part might seem a little bit nervous, but we're going to get more comfortable as it continues recording. So perhaps, do you have a question for me?
I'm curious about the weather where you live, actually.
Okay, you're the second person that asked this,
Oh
but
man, oh my God. Yeah, we're
it's
all
okay.
dealing with
The weather is pretty hot, as I would still answer this. It's like when you turn on the aircon and it's literally like not working because it really is that hot. And we had like okay, maybe I could add this. We had the typhoon like last week, and originally we would
Mm.
have it this week, but the typhoon kind of changed its direction, so it did not hit to the Hong Kong side. So that's another part to add into the weather question. But okay, you're the second person that asked, but that's totally fine with it. Okay, then perhaps could you help us read the title call for the episode? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Hibiscus Cafe Break open.
Yay! Thank you so much. So today we have Bea as our 5th guest, and so we're going to be talking about like a musical, and this musical is called Love Burns in Firenze, or in the Japanese translation, it's Burning in Firenze, and it's a flower troop musical. And in particular, we also want to talk about our oshi, which is Yuzuka Rei-san. So before we go into that, maybe you can also tell us a bit more of how you entered into this Takarazuka Review fandom.
So I don't have a long history, as you know. I have like a few months at hand now. Basically, I've known about Takarazuka since like forever, I think. Um, I think even since middle school, there was this anime that we all watched called Ouran High School Host Club. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but recommend it even till this day. Anyway, there was like an episode there where they were with this all school girls club of like acting, the drama club of this school, and they were basically Takarazuka. And that's where I first found out that Japan has like an all-female theater. I was so surprised about that. Like, wow, what's this? And then years later, when I lived in Japan for a bit, I had a roommate who was a Takarazuka fan. Went to see a play. Don't ask me which play because I don't remember it, but because of her, I would like be more aware of the Takarazuka presence around me. So I would like send her pics of like every poster that I would find. And now that I look through them, I'm like, oh, I recognize these actresses. Um, so fast forward to like years later this year, where I would when I casually like scroll down social media and I found this like Yuzukare edit and I was so bewitched by the performance I saw there. I was like, who is this magical person? I have to know more. That I realized that that's Takarazuka. I was like, yeah, this is my entry point now. This is went down the rabbit hole basically. And here I am.
I see. So, continuing on from the story, what do you think was the charm of Takarazuka Revue? Be it the performers or like the stage setting? What is the thing that attracts you the most to that?
Everything from like the stage setting to the costumes to the feathers, that those full like peacock feathers. I was like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. That looked so magical and like ve- really transported you to like another dimension basically. When you watched like three like 2 3 hours of a musical, you forgot that you existed in your current dimension. Basically, you were just there. It's so you cannot blink when you watch a Takarazuka performance, I feel.
That's a good way to put it because some people also say like even though they have their opera glasses, there's just too much to watch on stage, too many details and too many great highlights.
Right?
So, yeah. And also another question is what do you think is the charm point of Yuzukare-san? Like obviously this is my brand, but like it feels so shameless to talk about her in a full episode, but you also mentioned that there was a certain edit that you find bewitching or alluring. So please tell us about like the charm point of Ray. Perhaps it could be something off stage as well.
Oh, her charm point to me is her eyes. Her eyes just like say so much without saying anything. Like her facial expression overall is so interesting to look at. You cannot look like she captivates all your attention. Even though there's like 100 people on the stage, you can see her in the middle there, and that's all. Like everyone else is just but yeah, no, I feel like I could look into her eyes and I would get lost in them. That's as cheesy as that line sounds. That's so true.
Anyway, we have to go back to the main theme, which is the musical for today, Love Burns in Firenze. A little introduction is that it is the 2022 national tour performance, and also it is a show written by Shibata Sensei, and it was restaged after 40, 50 kind of years, I think. And somehow I decided to talk about this musical with Bayes because I felt like this show was underrated and I need to deconstruct the myth that this show has its value worth. So perhaps for one word to describe it, how would you describe Lovebirds in Firenze?
With one word, a mess. It's
That's
just
two
a mess.
words.
Um, it's it's drama. That's what it
Yeah,
drama. Literally drama. Just
true.
that's the purest form of drama that you could find. But it's so good.
Exactly, because this kind of drama, like written back in the 1970s, restaged back by Flower True. And I understand it's not like the most typical Takarazuka romance, dreamy love kind of musical, which we'll talk about more later. But I do understand the gist of it. And because it was so simple to understand, you can see how absurd things can be in this whole drama. So, first of all, Ray, as the top star, she plays a very different role than before because her character doesn't appear a lot and she doesn't say a lot of lines, doesn't even sing a lot of songs. I believe it was just two songs, or actually just one song that she sang.
Yeah.
It was just reprise of the theme song. So, how do you think this affected how you understood Love Burns and Firenze if the top star wasn't always prominently there?
I think that was a little different from the all of the plays that I've seen so far. I was not expecting that, to like be to her for her to be the main character, but also be kind of absent in the whole story. But at the same time, I understand that that was the character. Like that was Antonio. That's his brand. He's just like there's in the background, kind of like listening to people. He's the one that he thinks he can save everyone and everything, and he's trying to like empathize with everyone, and he's being a, a big brother to not just to his little brother but to everyone, including the person he like falls in love with in a way. He like sees all the vulnerable people and looks at them like, oh, I can fix them. That's what he does. He's just that guy.
Do you think it's practical in reality to have someone so much mercy towards everyone, even to his lover that he so adored and really empathized with? Because in the musical, we know that Pamela is the widow of her fourth husband, I believe. And people were giving some bad kind of discussion and like saying that she has a bad reputation for possibly just, marrying another one to like have their fortune. So, do you think it's actually practical to see someone like this in reality?
To be honest, I don't think that would be a very practical thing. I don't know if there is someone like that. I think there is. There must be at one point, like in somewhere in the world. But like I don't think that you can just step away from everything and just let everyone else kind of like have the spotlight, or just live such a selfless life to the point where you hurt the people that you care for. Because that was his mistake number one, two, three, four. He basically tried to like be everyone's protector, but ended up hurting kind of in a way everyone else. He's
Interesting.
a very confusing character, but I love him in a way. I'm like I understand, but also you could have been more selfish in some cases.
Interesting. I have never thought like, because if people are too good at an extreme, it may really bring some frustration or trouble to people, and in this case Antonio. But over time I kind of want to interpret as to the aristocrat's standard of what is good aristocrat versus what is not. So I was thinking, was Pamela really that bad to make everyone despise her so much? And that also enlarged this affection and this support that Antonio wanted to give to Pamela. And if that was the case, was society too cruel to Pamela? Or was it really that Antonio was too merciful? Because if it was the former, then it would seem to be like any average sympathetic person would easily assist Pamela. Whereas on the other side, it would be Antonio being the irrational one, or the one that lacks the judgment, I would say, in terms of discerning what is acceptable or not in the aristocrat society. And to me, that is something that every time I continue to look into it, it's just, I don't think it's just a question that seems never to be answered. And it's also because, well, Ray in the Now on Stage, she also emphasized that you have to try and understand it in the aristocrat's perspective. And for that, it really is difficult. After all, we're just living in current society and no longer having any aristocrat amongst us, right? But for that, she wanted to say, like, there's an open answer, but it is to see how much these aristocrats care about their fame, reputation, and all those things that really are labeled on them that would possibly explain their decisions. So when Ray said that, I find it interesting that she wants to put out this open discussion for people. And that's why it's still an answer that I'm trying to understand whether it's really Antonio's fault or not.
I
So,
don't think it's like
mhm.
his fault, basically. I think it's just he was brought up in this privileged environment, and it was like he looked around and thought that, oh, these people are too shallow and just care about money, reputation, and all that. I'm not gonna be that way. But he didn't know how to. I don't think, or at least that's what I thought watching it. I don't think that he truly has a full grasp of how reality works, like normal everyday people. So I think that's what got him into like difficult positions, because he wasn't doing it things on purpose. He just tried to be a good person.
True. And I think it also adds to his moral conflict because he did mention at some point of the show to say that he looked into Pamela's eyes, and Pamela's eyes were bloodshot. They reminded him of this innocent young man that was sentenced to a death penalty. And he witnessed that court trial to which he couldn't help that young man. And so those eyes from the innocent young man reminded him of Pamela's eyes. And so that possibly is some point of time in his life where it kind of sparked his heart of empathy towards others and also just wanting to help whenever he could, as his position of an aristocrat would be higher. And so
Hmm.
that to me is also something that really adds on to why he wanted to extend so much, well, merciful love to anyone, like, yeah, beside him. And so, yeah, we mentioned about the romance between Pamela and also Antonio, but there's also like the brotherhood or bromance, if you will, of Ray's Antonio to Mighty Minami Maito-san's my Leonardo. And yeah, how would you comment on how they both dealt with like the brotherhood of Antonio and Leonardo?
It was very interesting to watch and frustrating at the same time, because um Antonio was like protecting the family. He had like a responsibility being the like older brother, and he wanted to protect his family, wanted to protect Pamela, but also Leonardo was um was trying to like convince Antonio that he's not the like old, the, like little kid that he was before. He's a grown up now, so he can protect Antonio too, and like kind of um show him that he's also a grown up now, kind of. And when he saw Pamela, he was like, this is a threat for my brother, and he doesn't deserve that. So let me step in and try to fix things in a very questionable way. But yeah, I think the methods in both ends were not well thought, but I think that was what they thought it would work. That's why I'm thinking, like, I'm looking at them like have no concept of what how reality works like. And yeah, one is selfless and the other one is trying to protect that pureness that one has. It's a very good dynamic, I must say, but it's also frustrating to watch.
True. I must add that it is really conflicted for me to watch because it's not as if Leonardo was trying to oppose to Antonio's idea of falling in love with a woman, but it's also how Leonardo would be more vigilant of what would be the women that you could trust versus those that you couldn't. And so seeing how that slowly unfolded itself, it was really just heart-wrenching to watch actually, because there was this part where, yeah, spoilers, but Leonardo was trying to, I don't know, seduce or like just persuade and convince to Pamela that he also likes her. But it gets really, really messed up because Minami-san's Leonardo is just very dangerous. Okay, like imagine that. That's
Yeah.
the first thing. The second thing is she mentioned, like through, yeah, Leonardo mentioned that I like you, but this like is not close to love. It is close to hatred. And my head is just having micro explosions trying to understand what it means. It's as if Leonardo understands his mission is to try to derail Antonio from the wrong path. And when Antonio knocks and says, if I could come in, Pamela, because I want to see you, it's Leonardo answering, yes, come in. The door is not closed. And Antonio just sees both of them. And yeah, at that part, you can hear a pin drop because of that tension that's built within this awkwardness, betrayal, disappointment, all of these emotions just compacted in this quiet scene. And you see how Antonio utters lines so slowly. Why? To Pamela, to which Pamela has to
I
answer
know.
every single response in tears, holding back her sadness. To which Leonardo still pretends that it doesn't matter. And then later on, Antonio runs off. Pamela also leaves because she also heartbroken that she hurt Antonio this way. And you suddenly see that at this one glimpse where Leonardo suddenly breaks off character and he realized that he did something so hurtful to his brother, to which he realized, what have I done? And all of that is just what, 4 to 5 minutes, but that scene is something that I rewatch a lot just to see.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you for your honesty. So yes, I'm also very fascinated to how this musical shows me how it really is silence speaking. Yeah, silence speaks louder than words, right? This musical really
Yeah.
showed me that. Yeah.
Yeah, but at the same time, I wish they would speak. I wish they would say things. I wish they would. I want to grip each and one of them by the shoulders and be like, come on, say something. You have nothing to the. Why are you silent? Why are you not saying, oh, this happened? I actually don't want this to happen. No, they're like, oh, I cannot tell you. Oh, it's no, silent. Like, why? Why are you shutting up at this moment? No, speak up. Like, protect the people that you need to protect, that you said you will protect. Come on, why back up now? Like, do you really think that your little brother is in love as well with Pamela? That's suspicious. Come on, step in, dude. You also love her. Why are you not stepping in? Why are you letting everything happen and then regretting? Yeah, it gets me like this when I rewatch it, but it's so good. I love it. The
Yes.
silent scenes are my favorite because you can really like they really zoomed in on their eyes and you can see each and everyone's expression and it's they say so much through their eyes. And that's why I feel like I love that I look at the eyes more than anything else because the eyes can say so much without, verbal dialogue.
Hello, everyone. This is Hibiscus. So many things have happened to Takarazuka Review for these past few months. You have Yuzuka Day and also Hoshikaze Maruka, the Flower Troop top combi, who have announced to be retiring on May 26, 2024. B, you have Moon Troop top combi, Tsukishiro Kanato and Umino Mitsuki to be retiring in July 2024. C, you have Snow Troop top star Ayakaze Sakina, who will be retiring in October 2024. And D, a tragedy happened in Takarazuka Review, which involves the death of a 25-year-old Takarazuka actress. Now, I know this seems a lot, but this is also the reason why I haven't been publishing these Hibiscus Cafe Break podcasts. Podcasts are supposed to be a platform where we could converse on lighthearted topics. However, I don't feel it was appropriate to release this episode any sooner when all of these things are going on, and I am still adjusting to it. However, I have finished translating Love Burns in Firenze and also Fashionable Empire National Tour 2022, which finds me the correct timing to release this episode right here. I am still editing on part 2, but be sure to check that out soon. Besides, so many things have happened, such as a life update would be I did see Ray in real life on February 11th, 2024 in Takarazuka Grand Theater. I would probably use a Hibiscus Cafe Break episode to talk about it, but for now, I would also like to announce that I have changed some of my social media handles. For my Instagram, Yuzuka Hibiscus will be closing down after May 26th, 2024. This page now serves as a archive, or you could say it's a temporary platform where you could find my new account, which is Archive for Ray, ARCHIVEFORREI, in which the account is private, and to follow it, you have to answer some safety questions. As for Twitter, you can still find me on updates of Ray, UPDATESOFREI. And so those will be the two main platforms that I will be continuing on my translation and updates work. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.